Hi, my darlings. I'm Sophie Darling, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are reacting to episode 4 of series 2 of Apothecary Diaries, and I have just bought the light novels. I bought the first 4, so don't worry, I'm not going to be spoiling myself for series 3, but I have bought book 1 and 2, which are series 1, and then 3 and 4, which are series 2. I obviously will not be reading book 3 and 4 until series 2 is done because they will spoil the series, but they arrive tomorrow and I'm so excited to actually sink my teeth into these light novels. I really do need to read my Attack on Titan manga because I did have a very, very generous friend on Patreon, Heza, thank you very much, who bought me series 1 and series 2 of the manga, and I haven't unpackaged them. They are still packaged because I haven't been able to read them yet. So this is season 1, and then this is really fucking cool, by the way. Like, there's spines on them, so I do need to open them, but until I actually read them, I'm not going to open them, just to prevent them from getting damaged. But then, so like, we have the Colossal, right? And then we have Annie. How I love these. They're so fucking cool. And then we have our boy Reiner as well. So we have the Colossal, Annie, and Reiner. So that's series 1 and series 2 here. And I can't wait to read them. I just haven't had chance yet. And I still need to get the others, but I will get the others at some point. I think the reason I've kind of been putting off reading the manga at the moment is because I've never read manga, so I'm kind of worried that it won't hit for me the same way as the series, but I can't wait to give them a go. Ooh, I'm shaking the camera, but I can't wait to give them a go nonetheless. And as I said, I haven't unpackaged them because I don't want to unpackage them until I actually read them because I just don't want them getting ruined or damaged. And I don't think they will because they're on my case, but I'm just kind of weird about protecting things like this because these are my babies. And yeah, I'm looking forward to reading these, and I'm also looking forward to reading the light novels. I'm probably really, really excited for light novels because, like, it is a book. It's not manga. Not that I have anything against manga, but, like, I've never read manga, so I think I'm kind of scared that it won't hit me the same way as, like, an actual book will because it is almost like a comic book in a sense, and I never really read comic books. But I will definitely be giving manga a go, and my Attack on Titan babies will be my first manga that I ever read, and my first experience with light novels will be the Apothecary Diaries. I know there is a manga, but I just didn't want to get the manga. I wanted to get the light novels because that's what the show is directly. I don't know what that is, but directly linked to. That's what it's influenced by and based off. So, of course, between the light novels and the manga, I'm obviously going to pick up the light novels because there's more detail in them. Because without the light novels, we wouldn't have this amazing, amazing show. I'm going to put these back because they're just going to sit on my lap now. I do also want to read Berserk, but I have full intentions to watch Berserk. I have the 1997 version that my lovely friend Jay gave to me along with Monster. I have them on like a little flash drive. So I will be watching Monster after Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is done. And then I'll be watching Berserk at some point. I'm not sure when. Berserk is quite a bit shorter, so I might actually just be able to fit it in with like filming everything else if I do like maybe one episode every weekend or something, because it isn't like a super long anime. But I've seen the big volumes and they look class, so I really want to give them a go at some point. But again, I just kind of want to get used to reading manga first. But of course, Attack on Titan has to be the first. I also want to read the Death Note manga because I really loved Death Note up until episode 26. Episode 25 and below, phenomenal. Chef's kiss, amazing story writing. Did have some critiques about the characterization of Misa, but still an amazing show. Really enjoyed the psychological thriller aspect of it. After episode 25, it is really rushed and the pacing is off and it's really hard to kind of follow and understand the character's thought process. It just feels like characters jump to conclusions that they couldn't possibly make sense of without further context given. So, yeah, wasn't a big fan of the final half of Death Note, but I heard that the manga is really good and is really consistent. So that is also on my list. We've digressed. I'm so sorry, but I just got really excited that I had to share the fact that we have the light novels coming. And then last episode was a bit of a mind fuck with the whole switched characters and somebody taking the place of another, and the whole poisoning aspect and the dead body that Mao Mao found in the woods because of the fungi and the smell, which is just absolutely crazy. Just when you think she couldn't get any smarter, she just pulls that out the bag and you're like, what the fuck? Where did that come from? But what stands out to me the most is the switched characters. This feels like it could be a potential plot point later on. They tend to do this. They do this in series 1 as well. They'll drop like a really subtle aspect that you just kind of overlook as maybe being like only a feature of a singular episode. And then it becomes a core plot point. I've talked about this a few times where like there are aspects of smaller episodes where we're like, oh, it's just one and done, but then it all comes together to form the plot to assassinate Jinshi. Or it's all related to the plot to assassinate Jinshi. So it's kind of like it forms a bigger picture. And as Mal Mal says, how much is planned and how much is coincidence? I think this look at the fact that somebody could take the place of another or could take the guise of another, maybe something that we see crop up again. And that could be that we see two characters switch again, that we have two that look alike and decide to switch places, or one character that switches roles, similar to like how Jinshi switches roles. Like Jinshi is not a eunuch, but he takes on that disguise. But there are times where he switches into the princely demeanor because it's expected of him. It is what he's supposed to do. So it makes me wonder if, because again, they're bringing up this whole switching dynamic, that we could see it happen in that two characters switch places or one character by day is one person and by night is a completely different person. Because this whole switching is like a core aspect of the show in series 1. It's the baby switch, the switching of Aldua and the Empress Dowager's babies. We have Jinshi who presents as a eunuch and older than he actually is, but he's only 19. I believe they said he was 19 in series 1. He could be slightly older now because obviously time has progressed. But he switches between the guise of the eunuch and being the prince in the ceremonies that he has to undergo, the purification ceremonies. And I imagine there's also societal functions that he will have to show up to as the prince. Not very many people know he's the prince, but there are people that do, which means he likely has attended social events as the prince. But the people that probably see him at these social events don't see him as Jinshi in the rear palace because they're not frequenting those environments. Because again, Jinshi's in the rear palace because he's who can be trusted the most by the emperor. He's the closest person to the emperor right now. So he trusts Jinshi to look after his flower garden, as he put it. But there is a greater meaning behind it as well. We know that Jinshi's here for a reason. It's not just to tend to the consorts. There is something else ongoing, but we don't really know much more about that conversation. That conversation was very coded. I think Jinshi has a reason to be here, and it is to ensure that the Emperor is kept safe, but he won't be here forever. That's the thing. He will eventually leave and take up the role that is expected of him as heir to the throne. We have Jinshi that plays a double life, a double role. We have no one really knowing that Jinshi is the prince, because those that see him as the prince would never frequent the rear palace because they're not allowed to, because you have to be a eunuch to enter. And it's unlikely that the eunuchs that are serving in the rear palace will also be the same eunuchs that would serve during royal functions, so you can keep them separate. You can keep the gossip completely obliterated into a minimum. But Lacan knew that Jinshi was the emperor's younger brother. So of course there's going to be people that suspect it and know, but have to keep it secret because again, you can't speak out against the emperor because it is treason. So you have to be very careful and coded with what you say. I digress. But the switching aspect is very narratively evident with the babies, with Jinshi switching between being a prince and being a eunuch. And then now we have Jin and the court lady who was forced to take her place after she was killed. So I think we're going to see that again. I think this isn't the last time we see this duality, this switching, but whether it'll be someone that is switching place with another or whether it'll be someone that's switching between roles will yet to be seen, but it has to have significance symbolically to the narrative in series 2 because the switching was significant in series 1, but they're bringing up switching again, which means we're going to see it happen. We're going to see a character switching between roles, or we're going to see two characters switch places with each other. But it has to have a meaning and it has to have a purpose for it to crop up again. But I'm telling you now, watch this space. It's going to happen. And we also still have to mention the special envoys that we haven't seen yet. They maybe haven't arrived yet. So maybe in this episode, we'll see them. And then also the hint that Li Hua might be pregnant. We don't know if she is pregnant. So maybe again, we'll get more hints and more confirmation. But without further ado, let's get into episode 4. Excited. I love this show. Oh, the envoys. Oh, they're blonde. I thought they had more like reddish, pinkish hair. But maybe that was the lighting in the caravan.
なるほど。わざわざ呼んだのはこれのためか。
立派な姿見でしょ。
It is
何でできてい
pretty.
るかわかるかしら。
この反射、ハリセイでしょうか。
当たりよ。ほんと玉葉様が2人いるみたい。
It's so funny that something that would be so normal to us in modern society would have been like a, what the fuck is this, you know?
前にもハリセイの手鏡はあったけど、イーヴァが割っちゃったからね。もうそれは言わない
Like, could you imagine being around when like mirrors were first invented? You'd be like, what? What is this witchcraft?
マーマーも興味あるんだ。
はい。どういう構造にな
How
って
could
い
it
るのでしょう
not?
か。
It is
国内で量産できる
interesting.
ようになれば儲けることが。
But again, it ties back into what I was talking about duality because a mirror is a reflection of the self. So technically speaking, the mirror could be hinting symbolically that we could see that somebody isn't quite revealing their true selves or feel like they're having to hide behind a facade, but they're able to use a disguise to show a reflection of who they truly are. You know? That was really long-winded. I don't know if that made a lot of sense, but essentially mirrors reflect back an image of ourselves. It is also duality. It is another image that you have to confront. So it could be symbolically hinting that we only see an aspect of a person that they want reflected and that there's another side to them that maybe isn't glimpsed because they hide it or repress it. But we may then get to see that side of them, that duality. But it's also a bit like how Mao Mao kind of hides behind a mask. A lot of characters hide behind this perception that they put out to the world, but it isn't necessarily a true reflection of who they are. Kind of similar to Lacan in series 1, where like it would have been really easy for a lot of people to judge him as being this creep and this widow that like did something really, really bad to Mao Mao's mum. But that wasn't a true reflection of who he actually was. So I think this could be alluding that there are characters whose reflection we have yet to see. Their true character isn't quite revealed. And the one person who I would say that stands out that we haven't really seen their true persona revealed is Lolan. We only see what Lolan wants to project out into the world. We don't actually see who she is as a person because she wears a lot of disguises. She hides behind a mask. She's a very obscure, mysterious figure, and that is solely because we don't know anything about her, which means we have yet to see the true reflection of Lolan. I'm thinking far too deeply into this in terms of like the earlier conversation about like split selves being sort of like an important thematic symbolism, but also this mirror that I'm like put it together and then like stringing things along. But maybe this is alluding that we'll see a more realistic portrayal of Lolan in series 2, that we'll see a different side to her that maybe we haven't seen before, because it talks about how like the emperor doesn't even know who she is. The emperor can't relate to her because every time he sees her, she's a different person. It's not a true reflection of who Lolan actually is. And every time Lolan has a moment to shine, has a moment to be seen, her father is there and kind of taking over, taking control. So we still don't get to see this true side of her, this true nature, whether she actually wants to be in this role or whether her father has sort of manipulated and used her to get close enough to the emperor to either manipulate him or take him out entirely.
こんな立派な姿見を4枚も持ってくるなんて、砂漠を越えるにしても海を越えるにしても大変だったろう。妃たちにここまで気を使うとは、この国に大きな商談でも持ちかけているのかもしれないな。
シャオマオの意見を聞かせてほしいことがありました。
I love their friendship. They're so cute together.
構いませんが、込み入ったお話なんですか？
二人きりはまずいと本ニャン様も同席してくれたが、ガオシュン様が最初の地としてすっかり興味を失ったらしいな。
Yeah, she had a bit of a crush on him. How did she find out that he had a wife and a child? Wait. Oh, unless they're going with the story that he became a eunuch after marrying and having a child, that he was like a late eunuch. That will have to be the story they go with because he serves in the rear palace. So that must be what they're saying. That's the only logical explanation, because otherwise he wouldn't be allowed in the rear palace if they presumed he wasn't a eunuch. So, yeah.
大変妙な話なのですが、とある領家に2人の娘がいました。年が近くよく似た姉妹は、両親に愛されて育ちましたが、年頃になると過保護とも言えるほどになりました。
Duality again. I told you that it's a theme.
部屋の外にも下男を監視役に置き、夜は鍵をかけて出られないようにしたそうです。
父様、妹が1000人の子を身ごもりました。
Has somebody been sneaking in? What? But also, two children that look very alike. Duality. When you highlight it, you can't unsee it.
それも難しいですね。
They're
下男
eunuchs.
は監視のためでも部屋に近づくこと
Oh,
が許されて
okay,
いませんでした。
all that.
確かに困った話ですが、私の領分
But
ではない
somebody
気が
must
し
have
ます。
approached the room, unless it's a
この方と
phantom
通じずに子を
pregnancy.
身ごもる例はないかという話ならわからなくもないですが。
I mean,
そういう
yeah,
ことがあるの？
it can
実
happen.
際に子が宿るのではなく、妊娠したように体が錯覚を起こすの。
Yeah, phantom pregnancy. And you start to have the symptoms and appear pregnant because your hormones trick your body into thinking it, but there is no baby. It's very fascinating phenomena.
問題は、監視を逃れて妹が抜け出すことができたかどうかです。入り口は西側の廊下にしかありません。あとは東側と南側に窓がありますが、ゲランが
But there has to be a way, obviously, for them to get
ゲナン
out.
はどのあたりから監視していたのでしょ
南
Like a
側の窓は
blind spot.
本宅の3階から、東側の窓は1階から監視していたらしいです。
I wonder if her sister helped her.
ただ、姉妹は窓辺で刺繍をしていることが多く、
What if it's the same sister? Like, what if she's playing both roles so her sister can sneak out and see this man that she wants to be with? What if she's covering for her? Kind of like, well, we look close enough and we look alike, so it's going to convince the man on this side that he's seeing one sister, and then I'll go sit near the window on the other side, and that's going to convince him. But there has to be like a blind spot that allows one of them to get out.
う。ずいぶんと詳細を知っている。そのくせすべては語っていない。この感じ。これは本当に知人の話なのか？口にしたいようなしたくないような。
そういえばシャオマオ、ジーンス様からこと捨てで、
What is she
詫びの品だそうです。申し訳ありません。急に需要が高まったようで。
どうしていきなり？
最近人種様のもとに貴重な霊薬を送る者が多いと聞きましたよ。やけに熱心に探していると噂ですから。
Aww.
まあそういうことで、こちらをどうぞ。
He wants to please her. He wants to give her what she wants.
U タンです。
熊の胆のを乾かしたもので苦味がありますが消化器系の病で重宝される貴重な生薬です。
She's so me when somebody asks about my
本当はジン
hyperfixation.
様が直接渡したかったようですが、
Look how happy she is.
それで何か気づいたことはありませんか？
He's like bribing her for information. He's like, here, have something you like, and now tell me what I want to know.
この木の実が姉妹だとして、いつも座っているのはこの辺りで合っていますか？
What if one
So-
sits in the middle
監視
of
は
that
二
room
人
diagonal?
それぞれがいつも
So they get
同じ場所
seen
で
by
見張ってい
both
た。
sides, but that allows the
そこで、
other daughter
こんな風
to.
に鏡を置いてみたらどうでしょう。
もう一つ木の実があるように見えます。
Oh, or a mirror. That allows the other sister to sneak out.
つまり部屋にいたのは一人だけで、
Yep.
もう一人は鏡に映った姿というわけですか。
Yep.
よく似た姉妹なら監視役が見分けるのは難しいかもしれません。
二人はそれぞれ違うものを刺繍していたのでしょ？
ええ、動物だと聞いています。確か鳥とウサギとか。
この絵を
Oh,
逆さまにすると
it'll look different
笑った
based
顔
on the
は怒った顔のよう
reflection.
に見えませんか？
じゃあその刺繍も騙し絵だったってこと？
鏡に映って左右が逆になったら別のものに見えるような柄を刺繍していたのかもしれません。
They've concocted all of this. This is wild.
異国の特使が持ってきた姿見、あんなに美しく映るのだから遠目に見れば十分間違えてしまうだろう。
I am going to be including this little snippet in episode 4. It didn't click in my brain that another aspect of the duality is that the story Gaoshen is telling Mao Mao is not actually about twin sisters, but is about the two envoys. I thought it was a bit strange that we had two envoys that looked alike, and then obviously the story, and it was the mention of Gaoshan not quite telling the full story because these are special envoys. They can't just accuse them of something without actual evidence. So he has to be quite coded. But we did also see at the beginning, and again, it completely didn't twig at first that we see the guards looking at the building, this very same building that Gaoshan's going on about. And we see one of the women actually meeting with someone who looks to be Lolan's dad. He's got grey hair, he's quite a bit older. He does look like Lolan's dad. It's quite hard to see his face because he is in the shadow, but based on like the beard, the formal clothing, and the grayness of the hair, it does kind of look like him. So I'm going to roll with the fact that maybe they're meeting with Lolan's dad, which is raising some suspicions as to why would they be meeting with Lolan's dad? What is it that's going on there? And I think that's where the suspicions are coming in. And one of the cousins is covering for the other one while she has this meeting, which is suspicious. Why hide it? If there was nothing malicious or with ill intent going on, you would be open about your meetings. You wouldn't feel the need to hide that interaction unless it's because it ties into the bigger plot regarding Jinshi's attempted assassination, and also ties into the fact that the caravan was larger than it usually is, all because there were these two special envoys en route, but the larger trade allowed certain things to be brought in that maybe could go under the radar if not for Mau Mau. If not for Mau Mau highlighting that it seems weird. Get your foot down. Not NSFW content. He's licking his bum. Please. Please stop. Do it off camera. Jesus. Sully's gonna have his OnlyFans. Only Sully. Don't think the people want to see that, but okay. Back on topic. So, if not for Mau Mau, the scents wouldn't have been discovered, and the intensity of these scents in large doses could cause miscarriage. Likewise, the dresses. the ones that Gyokyu picked up because those are the ones that she knew would accommodate a growing pregnancy, without realizing that this could potentially be someone's way of figuring out if she's pregnant or not in order to target her more directly. So Mama was very quick to catch on to that, but it now seems even more suspicious that the two envoys are covering for each other while the other one meets with someone behind sort of the emperor's back, are doing it in such a coded way so as to not raise suspicion, makes it all the more suspicious that what they're doing is against the emperor, or they don't want the emperor to know because they're plotting something larger. Something else is taking shape here. It might not be as malicious as we initially think it is, but it's just very odd that they would conspire together to hide who one of the cousins is meeting. For what purpose? For what reason? Is she wanting like insider knowledge in relation to the emperor? Does she want to become a consort herself? So she's kind of trying to get information that would leverage her position in his eyes? Is she trying to conspire to bring the emperor down? Is she in on the plot to bring the emperor down? Why would her and her cousin be in on this plot? It's all really strange and hard to kind of piece together until we get a bit more context. I'm kind of kicking myself that it didn't twig that the story that Gaoshan was telling was actually about the envoys. It should have clicked. I don't know why it didn't.
実際にはらんだのはもっと違う秘密なのかもしれない。密偵
Ooh,
の疑いが
okay.
あるものを客人として扱うこともあるだろう。されど、それを追求するような深入りはしない。
この U ターンで何を作ろうかな。
She still has the insect fungus that she hasn't used yet. I wonder what she'll use that for.
真珠の涙を流す絶世の美女ですか。
ああ、接待対応の交換に泣き疲れてな。
He's exhausted.
特使たちは一体何を考えているんだ。真珠の涙を流す絶世の美女の話を聞いたことはないか？なんだ？
絶世の美人なら目の前にいますよ。と
She loves him.
どういうことでしょ
月の星のような美女で、彼女が踊れば祝福するように光が舞い、その涙は真珠となりこぼれ落ちたとか。
Okay, but why does she look like Jinshi?
う。気のせいですか。なんでまた急に。
Maybe it's
今
just
来
the
ている
purple
特使
hair,
の
but
たっ
like.
ての願いでな。
特使というと裁縫の。
それで会ってみたいので探して
But
ほしい
she's
と
obviously
言わ
not
れた
gonna look like
祖
that.
父ということはか
Yeah.
なり昔のことですね。
Are they gonna have to dress someone up as this moon fairy to like please this envoy?
50年前。花町の踊り子、月のせい。お、
もちろん何十年前の話だから今生きているかどうかは。
Oh my god, what if it's Granny?
本当も何も、人士様は会ったこともあるじゃないです
It's
か。
Granny!
花町で。
私が？
ええ。
It's Granny!
そのまさ
It
かで
is!
す。やり手ババアですよ。六章間の。
まあ、どんな方なの？
Not a moon
セ
fairy.
ンスさえ積めばすぐ感じると思いますけど、どうしますか？
あ、いや、それ
He's
は
like, that's gonna
でも
disappoint the
先方も
envoy.
50年前の人物だと分かってるのでしょ？代わりの美女ではダメなのですか？
それがもう美女を集めての宴席は設けたんだ。相手は満足した様子はなく、むしろ
Oh,
半で笑うようだったと。
失礼ですが、その美女たちに夜のお相手の方は。
いや、その手は無理だった。
So, Mama, stop asking.
誰もが見とれる容姿を持ち、性別は一応男。女性を夢中にさせるのに十分な位置。
Are they going to make Jinshi into the moon fairy? I feel like they might.
その特使というのはどれほど重要な相手なのでしょうか？
西と北の交易拠点を抑えている。
Oh, damn.
といえ
Okay,
ばわか
yeah.
るか。
Pretty
今
important
回キャラ
then.
バンの規模が大きかったのも、お互いに新たな交易の話を進めたいからだ。
So, this is really key.
そんな国の人間に月の生徒まで言わせたとは。 香に幻覚剤でも混ぜたのでしょうか。
そんなことをするのか。
しませんけど、一番手っ取り早いかと。
Or maybe she was just very beautiful in her youth, you know?
この際何でもいい。何か当時の情報はないのか。
よほど困っているな。
He's
では藁にもす
trying.
がるつもりで。
I feel as if they're gonna dress Jinji up as this moon fairy because they're bringing in women. None of these women are like seen as beautiful and they kind of laugh it off. And then Jinji has to be very cautious that he's not going to be asked to do anything that could like jeopardize trade. Because if they asked to stay with Jinshi would have to refuse them. But the issue is that it would be seen as snubbing and they may take offense and therefore may, you know, condemn any trade agreements and be really petty about it because he's incredibly beautiful. But it makes me think that they're going to have to dress Jinshi up as this moon fairy to please her because that's what she wants. She wants the moon fairy. She wants to see this ethereal, otherworldly beauty that her grandfather spoke so fondly about. And they weren't satisfied with the women that they were shown, the beauties that they brought in, but Jinshi has this like compelling, otherworldly, ethereal look to him that I feel that if anyone's going to be the moon fairy, it's going to be Jinshi, which means he might have to dance for them. Maybe Mama gets to do his makeup again.
なんだか妙な話を
It
持って
is
きたな。
very odd, isn't it?
ずいぶんしけたとこだね。茶の一杯も出ないのかい？
ばあさん昔、異国の特使の接待をしたんだって。
ああ、そうだよ。50年以上前だったかね。前の市場様の時代さ。
Granny was a wild one. I love that we get to know more about her backstory too.
狼もずいぶん悩んで、結局残っていた遺跡を使うことになった。元は何かの祭儀場で、果樹園の近くに綺麗な池と建物があってね。
当時の宴の会場が今の高級の中にあってもおかしくは
Oh,
そ
yeah.
こを舞台にした踊り手の主役として花町から選ばれたのが私だったのさ。
Go,
ない。選ばれた理
Granny.
由は？
そりゃ当時の花町で最上級の妓女だったから。
今の姿は花というより体だけど。
It's been 50 years, Mama. God damn, she's being harsh. But it also kind of makes sense. If we run with the suspicion that Mama's mom is Granny's daughter, who better to shape her into becoming the highest class of courtesan than the mother that gave birth to her? Of course, as mentioned in this district, you can't be a mother if you're in a brothel. You can't raise a child and give them the care and affection that they deserve because the environment that you're in, the environment that you are having to thrive within. But if Granny had a daughter, that daughter would technically be owned by the brothel. And if Granny is a high ranking courtesan, then the likelihood is that she would have then been able to pass these tips and tricks onto her own daughter, which allowed her to achieve that position as a way of protecting her from having to sell herself sexually. Of course, we know that because of everything that takes place with her getting pregnant and Lacan being sent away and not getting back in time, that she did end up having to have sex with clients, which led to her catching syphilis. But either way, it kind of makes sense if we believe in that theory, which I do believe in that theory, that that is Mao Mao's grandmother. Also, probably why she wants her to be a courtesan so badly, because it's in the blood, it runs in the family. But it would make sense that that would be her way of protecting her daughter through the only way that she knows how, because she can't be a traditional mother. She can't be a mother in the way that society would expect her to be because she's a courtesan, but she can protect her child and love her child in the way that this environment allows her to. In the same way that Mama's mother couldn't be a mother to her, but I also think Mama's mother would have behaved similar in that she would have tried to raise her in a similar way, would have tried to find a way to still show that care and affection in the only way that she knows how, because of the environment that she's grown up within and that she knows. But because of the syphilis and the anger and frustration at Lacan and feeling abandoned and betrayed, Mao Mao becomes a symbol of Lacan's betrayal, becomes a symbol of everything she has lost. So therefore, she takes out her rage and anger on Mao Mao, sort of as a replacement for her rage against Lacan, because she can't rage against him. So Mao Mao unfortunately bears the brunt of her mother's rage and wrath. It's a complicated relationship. I don't think she hates Mao Mao. I don't think she despises her. Again, there are all sorts of ways to get rid of a baby if she didn't want Mao Mao. She very evidently wanted Mao Mao, but the situation was just incredibly tragic. And because of the circumstances, Mao Mao became the symbol for Lacan's betrayal and probably reminded her mother too much of Lacan, that she felt tortured by the mere sight of her. And because of the degradation of her mind due to the syphilis, she likely behaved in ways that she may not have necessarily done if she had her full cognitive function. But we have to remember that she was going through a decline mentally. So she wasn't acting in the most rational of ways. Syphilis had taken control at this point, and she was prone to rages. And I don't think it was necessarily solely because she wanted to harm Mao Mao. I think the illness has a large part to play in that, because again, we see the tears falling onto Mao Mao's face when her mother's over her with the knife, which means that there is very evidently love and affection between them. I think initially she was intending to kill Mao Mao, but then resorts to cutting off her pinky finger to send to Lacan to curse him. I think initially that wasn't her intention, but she can't bring herself to do it because she does love Mao Mao. It's just hard to be a mother in that environment, because that environment doesn't allow you to nurture a child. It doesn't allow you to take on that role and responsibility. So you can only love the child so far as in the way in which this environment allows you to. So she can't really nurture and love a child when she never really knew that herself, because she even says that she was given birth to in the brothel, but her mother wasn't really a mother, because you can't really be a mother in that environment. Again, you are a mother by the fact that you gave birth to the child, but you're only a mother insofar that you gave birth. You can't really raise them with care and affection. You can't really be there for them in the same way, because you have a responsibility and a duty as a courtesan. Your child sort of becomes an additional burden, but you can't be there for them in the same way as a regular mother could be. You can only support them insofar as what the brothel allows you to. So again, I think Granny gave birth to Mao Mao's mum, and she could only raise Mao Mao's mom in the way that she knew from her own experience. So she helped contribute to her education to turn her into this high ranking courtesan, and that was her way of protecting the daughter that she loves but couldn't really ever truly be a mother to, because this environment doesn't allow her to be that mother, because she has duties and responsibilities elsewhere. But her way of protecting her child is to turn her into this untouchable courtesan, where she can only lose her purity when bought out. But of course, she had other desires. She didn't want to be there anymore. She wanted to be with Lacan, and the way to be with Lacan and to lower her price was for her to become pregnant. But Lacan didn't come back, and she felt betrayed. And by the time Lacan did come back, she had already been sleeping with clients and contracted syphilis, and that led to the mental decline, which meant she couldn't really raise Mao Mao either, because the mental decline and the environment that she's in doesn't allow her to be that nurturing parent that a child needs. Mao Mao would be sort of an additional burden to this environment. And I think if her mom could have raised her, she would have raised Mao Mao in a similar way to how Granny raised her. I've gone on like a tangent, but I just find it really interesting how like you can connect the threads together.
私は背も高くて体にメリハリもあったから。
確かに主役として舞台に立ったら体は大きい方がいいだろう。
I'm waiting for Mao Mao to be like, what happened? Well, you shrink with age.
果樹園が近いから虫も多くて、事前に葉についた幼虫を一匹残らず駆除して、そこまで用意したのに 当日私の衣装にいたずらする奴らがいたのさ。虫の死骸をこすりつけられてね、ヒレで隠してうまくやり遂げたさ。結果は大絶賛。いたずらした奴は悔しがってたよ。
その
Go,
話何度
Granny,
も聞いた。
go.
もっと違うことない？
可愛くない子だね。
Let me live my glory years.
綺麗な絵だ。
Oh, wow.
初めて見た。
Granny was
も大切にしていた
busty.
のだろう。この幻想的な美女が金の亡者になるなんて。
Oh, she had some assets.
これはその特使というのがわざわざ国に帰って絵描きに描かせたそうだよ。月女神だなんて言って。
So they have someone to model Jinshi off of now, right? Jinshi's gonna have to be the moon fairy.
でそんなに気に入られてたの？
そんなの私も知らないよ。
誇張はないだろ
He must have been
う。しか
besotted.
し、いくら当時のばあさんが美人だったとしても、女神とまで言わしめたのは何だ？
Maybe the environment, the moon, the insects.
とりあえずこの絵によく似た人物を探しますか。
そのくらいしか思いつかんな。
Or maybe
正
Jinshi.
直、この絵に似た大柄な
He's
美女を
tall.
見つけるのは難しいだろう。今では随分縮んでしまいましたが、当時は身長が175センチあったそうです。
随分と大柄だな。
Is Jinshi 175 centimeters?
しかし、彼女たちに匹敵する美女で大柄となると何度も
I
高いぞ。
mean,
特使様たちもそれ
Jinshi.
くらいの背丈ですし。
牧師様たち。
There's two.
一人では
Are
ない
they
のですか？
twins as well?
ええ。同じ祖父を持ついとこだそうで。
Do they look alike?
さっきの物言いだと、徳師たちもかなりの美人なのだろう。となればやはり、背丈が175センチを超える、美女を黙らせるほどの美貌の持ち主を。あ、見つけました。大変適役な人物。背丈が175センチを超える美人でしょ？
Jinshi. Jinshi. Jinshi.
何が言いたい？
Oh, it took him a minute, but he's like, oh, fuck. Oh, okay. So we got a glimpse of Lolan. Oh, that might be why she was seen as the moon fairy. Because of the ethereal glow. Why has Lolan got red hair again? Also, what is it with this, like, eerie ass music? Again, it's almost like they're trying to connect the two somehow. Like, flicking back and forth, because, like, why are they transitioning from Lolan with the Emperor with red hair to the servant girl that we have seen in episode 1 and episode 2 that is, like, really big into insects and loves insects. She's basically like Mau Mau, but for insects. Because this red hair, we only ever see now and again, because she doesn't have red hair by default. I know that it's like they're mentioning that she likes to dress up and have disguises and stuff, but her hair usually isn't that vibrant of a red. There is like an almost like purpley hue to her hair, but I find it so very strange that it switches from Lolan to the serving girl, and then there's like this eerie music as if they're trying to like insinuate something. Like they're trying to imply that there's a connection between Lolan and the servant. Because this servant we've never seen before up until the beginning of series 2. We've never seen her before. She's very like fairly new in. So if I don't know if this is really out of pocket, but based on this episode and the talking of duality and the talking of like people looking alike and switching, it seems maybe like it's implying that whoever the Emperor is seeing is not Lolan. That it could be somebody taking Lolan's place. Because why is it switching between the two? It's very strange. And then it would also tie in with the Emperor feeling like he never understands Lolan, or that like he never knows who he's getting. Because what if sometimes when he meets Lolan, it's not Lolan, it's somebody pretending to be Lolan so that she can go and do whatever she wants to do. So then when he does come another night and it is Lolan, it feels like it's a different person entirely. And that's why he constantly feels like they're changing and shifting, because it's not the same person. That it's maybe a different person each time. Because if we think about the previous episode, it was talking about how easy it is essentially for someone to take the place of another without it really being suspected. Okay? So could it be that Lolan is gallivanting elsewhere at times when the Emperor goes to visit? And that's why it feels like he's not getting the same person, and that's why he can't understand her, because he doesn't feel like he ever truly knows her, because it's not always her. And if she's gallivanting, is she the serving girl that we've only just seen in series 2? But yet there's that flick between them. They have the same colored eyes, but the hair color is different. Her hair is more like brownish, whereas Lolan's is like a purpley hue. But then we also know that Lolan does like to experiment with her appearance. So if she was going to hide and pretend to be someone that she's not, she would take efforts to at least try and disguise her hair color. But could Lolan be switching then? Because it would fit the symbolism that we've been seeing this episode and the previous episode of duality, of like not seeing the true reflection of someone, and how even a reflection can cast doubts because what you think is two people is actually the one person. So what if you're having interactions with two people not realizing they're the same person? Sort of like the daughters at the beginning of the episode. What the two men are seeing is the same person, just reflected on different sides, and then the portrait is flipped upside down, so it looks different to whoever perceives it. So then what if Lolan's doing the same? What if Lolan is masquerading as two different people and is being perceived differently by those that she interacts with, and that she's able to seemingly fit into both environments, but one is her true self and one is the mask that she has to wear because that's what she's been forced into by her father? Are we cooking? Maybe we might be cooking. We might be getting somewhere, because it would tie in with this concept of duality, of the true reflection hiding beneath, of people switching. If Lolan was switching with the serving girl, that who the Empress sometimes meets isn't Lolan, because Lolan is out doing whatever Lolan wants to do. So what if the serving girl that we've seen in episode 1 and 2 that's been getting close to Mao Mao is Lolan? I know it sounds weird. I know it sounds like a strange theory, but it's just the way that it shifts from Lolan speaking with the Emperor to the serving girl in the bushes interacting with insects, which is her passion and her hobby. So what if this is Lolan in this moment being her true self, the person that she actually wants to be but can't be because that's not the reflection everyone else wants to see? She's worried that she can't be her true self because everyone wants her to be this prim and proper lady, not this girl that is interested and passionate about insects. They want her to be more in line with her nobility, and that's not who she is. That's not who she wants to be. So she reflects what she wants the world to see, but the duality is that she can sometimes hide and masquerade as her true self, which is the side that she has to hide. Like Mao Mao, like Lacan, like Jinshi, she has to hide who she truly is behind a facade, behind the reflection that she pushes out to the world. I think we're cooking with the symbolism. I think the serving girl could be Lolan. I don't know for definite, because we would need more evidence, but there's just something about the way in which it flicks between them. The show has been very heavily about reflections, duality, switching, that it wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibility for a consort to reflect out onto the world what everyone expects her to be, what her father wants her to be, whilst finding time to be her true self, the one that she has to hide, this person that she truly wants to be but can't because that's not what society wants. So therefore she hides behind a reflection, she hides behind somebody that can masquerade as her, giving her the cover to be who she truly wants to be, which is the girl obsessed with insects. I think we're on to something. I say we as if you agree with me and we're in on this together. I think I'm on to something, but we'll need to watch further episodes to get some further clarification. But I think that that's where this narrative could be going. That Lolan isn't how she's perceived to be. That Lolan could be switching with someone to masquerade as the serving girl. And that who the Emperor sees isn't necessarily Lolan, but somebody pretending to be Lolan. Hence the disjointment in personalities and him feeling like he never gets to know her or the true her, because it isn't the true her. The serving girl is the true reflection, whereas what the Emperor sees is merely an act. It is somebody pretending to be Lolan. It's reflecting out what the world expects, what society expects, what her father wants, but the true reflection is hidden beneath. The true reflection isn't in the room because the true reflection is out gallivanting with bugs. I need to watch more so that I can like cook this theory further, but I'm pretty sure we're onto something. I'm pretty sure, like, if you look at all the symbolism, it makes sense. It comes together, but I could be gaslighting myself. I've done it before, but I think I'm onto something. Jinshi's gonna be the moon fairy. Jinshi's gonna be the moon fairy. We're gonna see Jinshi dressed up as this ethereal, tall, curvy woman, and he's gonna have to dance, and I'm here for it, and I'm so excited. But until next episode, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. Until next episode, bye!